Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is Well Red Beard. It's a damn fine day to talk about a book. And today we're here for a book review, and we're going to talk about Glass Children by Carlton Mellick. If you follow me, you know I got a love-hate relationship with Mellick. I love to read these short little things here and there in between, whatever. I've been over this 1,000 times. I assume that this isn't your first time watching me, but if it is, briefly, this is my seventh Mellick read, and I was slowly fitting these in. I was probably getting close to being done. All of them really have been 3-star ish reads for me. And then I read Quicksand House, which was the last one I read, and it was really, really good in my opinion. And so I kind of kept going. This one, the funny thing is I don't know that I had a loose goal of getting through all of Mellick's stuff. But then when I get this one and open it up, it's like this is my 66th book, and I'm like, shit. Some of them are hard to come by. Some of them are not easy to obtain. But anyway, here we are. Glass Children. And look, it's another 3-star ish read for me. One of these days, I'm gonna, maybe when I get to 10 or 15 of these read or something, I'll hold them up side by side and try to compare them. I mean, I can tell you that Quicksand House is my favorite. My least favorite, I'm not sure. Like I said, the rest of them have all been in the 3-star range. I mean, this one's probably middle of the road. I mean, what I do appreciate is the original ideas that he comes up with. This is about a generation of glass children that have been born. I mean, they're physically glass. And, it kind of gets into the idea of helicopter parenting and how you've heard of those things. I mean, I was born in 76, but grew up in the 80s. You've heard those things. We had it so much tougher back then. We went out when the sun came up and came in when the sun went down, and there were no video games, or if they were, there were, but they sure didn't occupy you all damn day. By noon we had ridden our bikes 5 miles and built a fort and explored an abandoned well and and this and that. You get what I'm saying. And today, look, I'm guilty of it. I've got kids. I got them on Life 360. I know where they're at all times. So, because of all that, evolution has brought out this generation of glass children. So, synopsis is very, very brief. The story of how society adapts to a world where the future of the human race is too weak to survive on its own, and one man's journey to discover the strength hidden behind their brittle exteriors. So, evolution would say that this is how the human race survives, but it's kind of hard to understand when these humans are made of glass. So, when these children are born, we do not leave them to their own devices. I mean, everything has been baby proof, so to speak. I don't know if you've had children, you put the cushy little things on the corners of the tables and everything and lock up the cabinets. And I remember we had to put them on the edge of the hearth, like our hearth like sits up off the floor like at our fireplace and concrete. And so we had to put those things there. But imagine that for everything, for cars, for buildings. I mean, there is no driving 55 mile an hour, 65 mile an hour anymore. That's just too much danger. So everything has been toned down, and it's not just physical threats. It's anything. I mean, these children cannot get upset. They cannot get worked up, or the stress will cause them to crack. So we've put them in places, in facilities, so to speak, to try to keep them alive while things are being figured out. Because let's be honest, if that's what it takes to keep them alive, how are they the next? How are we going to survive? How is this the fittest? If it's survival, the fittest, so to speak. So, um, our main character is a man who is retired. Man, he was loving life. I mean, had his I can't remember what it was. I think it was a Mustang, let's just say for the sake of argument, or Marrow or something. It was some fine piece of American muscle. Loved it. had to get rid of it, I mean, because you can't drive things like that. You have to drive these cars that are basically like pillows on wheels, so to speak. But he is forced to go work at this place. They are forcing people out of retirement to go and work and take care of these children. Um, he's really, really against it, but in the process, he kind of starts to, I guess, starts to get the gist. Now, some of the kids on his hall, he has to basically distribute snacks to these kids. And some of them are just spoiled, rotten brats. But one of them seems to know a little bit more, seems to be a little bit more, I guess, what's the word? A little bit more elegant, so to speak. And, he builds a relationship with her, and then it just all comes to this crazy, crazy head with a conflict of protesters outside the building that are, rushing the building to try to kill all these glass children. I mean, very, very reminiscent of, January 6th. Was that 2020? I think it was 2020. Very, very reminiscent of that. Very, very line in the sand drawn. People are storming this building. People that are maybe not even behind taking care of the glass children, but are forced to be there because of the government. You get where I'm going. So there's a lot of political undertones with this book. But I mean, again, for me, it's somewhere between three and a half. I mean, without being super repetitive, I appreciate the shortness. I appreciate the originality. I appreciate the spiraling, bizarro aspects of them. I've read this one. I would say is possibly more PG rated than some of the others. I mean, I've read Fantastic Orgy and Haunted Vagina, so maybe a little bit more PG. But yeah, this is Glass Children, Carlton Mellick. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying all your books, all of them, as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.